Thank you so much.
Yes.
Tell us your name and briefly, you have been given another office yet this time in the City Land Board chairperson. When did you resume office and what are the key issues that lie ahead of you in this office?
Yes, I'm Samuel Ondoma. I'm a lawyer by profession. I practice law with Alakan Company Advocates, but I'm also the senior legal officer of Muni University. And at the same time, I've been a member of Arua City Land Board. I'm grateful and happy to inform you that I've been already nominated and seconded as the chairperson for Arua City Land Board by Arua City Council. I want to thank the city mayor, the town clerk, and the members of council, that is city council. I want to thank also my colleagues who are the members of land board for making sure that I am nominated and seconded as the next chairperson for Arua City Land Board. It's a very big opportunity and it's a big privilege, and I expect to do that assignment with all the diligence, with all the integrity, with all the professionalism that is expected of me. This opportunity came because of Honorable Atiku joining politics. As we are all aware, initially it has been Honorable Atiku Bernard who was our chairperson, and I have been a member of the City Land Board. We worked very well together with our chairperson, and then that is Honorable Atiku. We worked as a team and we did so many things together. I really want to thank him for the job well done when he was still in office as the City Land Board chairperson. And I wish him all the best in his new endeavors in politics. Ahead of me, of course, I know there are challenges because there are many people who are complaining that they have failed to get their title. There are those who applied when Arua was still a district. Now the place is a city, and the land board changed from Arua District Land Board to Arua City Land Board. And that change came up with so many challenges. Many people have their documents which are not approved. During my tenure, I want to make sure that all those people who applied and their applications were not approved, those applications should be shortlisted for approval. Those which have issues, because I know some of them have issues because some did not go through fiscal planning board. Others maybe you might find there are things which are missing, either a national ID or some of them the fees is not paid. So people should be able to be informed of why their application forms are not approved. If they have challenges, we shall make sure that the people are notified of why the applications are not approved. And I'm also happy to inform that these files, they are already actually transferred to City Land Board. It took a lot of time. It took over 2 years for the files to be transferred from Arua District Land Board to Arua City Land Board. We made all efforts as the Land Board, and then as the Land Board, City Land Board, we made all efforts to make sure these files are transferred to Arua City Land Board. Now that the files are transferred to Arua City Land Board, I want to tell the public that many of these files, actually about half of these files were already approved. Only that some people don't know that these files have been approved. So once you have your file, please don't sit at home, because there are people who expect that the approvals are done and then there will be the files will follow them up to home. They need to take time and come and check at land office whether these files have been approved or not. If they are not approved, you take advantage to talk to the secretary, City Land Board, such that the secretary makes sure that your file is cause listed is fixed for the next approval. Please don't sit down. This office is a public office. It's not an individual office of mine or members of City Land Board. It is a public office. You have the right to demand to know the status of your file. So please, we shall make efforts to make sure that these files are approved. And if they are approved, we shall also put notice to the public that they are already approved. There are about half of them which were approved already before, and the list is with the Arua City Land Board, so you need to get time and check. There has been also complaints of delays in approving these files, but what we shall try to make sure that the processes are explained to the public. The processes of land title, how do you process land title, where do you start from, how do you pick the application form. These processes we are going to make sure we simplify them in form of a small booklet, leaflet, and where people can easily read both in English and in local language, and then they are able to follow these processes. Because in the process of title, there are so many parties involved. Because the process starts with you picking the application form and you paying. Then there is area land committee that is involved. There is a fiscal planning committee that is involved in approval. Then you have to, the land board, city land board is involved. The Arua City Council is also involved, because there are certain plots which are what, where you cannot grant freehold, it's only leasehold. City has to put an input. The fiscal planners of Arua City, they are involved. The surveyors, they are involved. Then the EMUZO, the title office, is involved. So because of the complex nature and because there are so many stakeholders involved in this process of approving titles and grant of titles, so you should always, there are also those delays which come with it, so many people being involved. But I believe that if people know the process clearly, that when I to get my title, I need to start by picking the forms. If you're in the IVU division, you pick the forms from IVU division, you pay. There's 83,000 you pay for those forms. If you're in Arua City, Arua Central Division, you pick from Arua Central Division. You pick the forms from there and then you pay. That's the initial point. Because if you don't pay, and that receipt, you have to keep it, because that receipt is important. It is that receipt and the payment. After paying, then they give you application forms. And then another thing, of course, people always confuse is that there are actually 4 tenures or land tenure systems in Uganda. There is customer land tenure system, because you can own land as a customer owner of land. If you want a customer ownership and you want customer certificate of title, then us as the Arua City Land Board, we can't approve it, because for customary certificate of title, the process starts at the sub-county level, and it is the sub-county chief who acts as is the one who actually issues the titles. So meaning in Arua, actually in West Nile entirely, customer certificate of titles are not yet issued, because the registry, they have not prepared the registry to issue these titles. The records are not clear, the people are not yet trained, and they don't have safes and documents, places where they can keep the documents. They don't even have that document on the format of the title which they can issue. So it is still being worked on. So if you want a customer certificate of title, you cannot get for now in West Nile. There was only some few people in Terego, around Terego, got customer certificate of title, but it was a project by Ministry of Lands and then NGOs which are involved with refugees, ZOA, and then the district in Terego, which helped in processing those customer certificates of title. That was a pilot special project for that area. But in other parts, it's not yet there. So now, meaning that if you want to pick application forms after you pay, once you pay for now to start the title process, you have paid the fees at the sub-county or at the division. After paying these fees, you need to be sure on what type of ownership you want. Are you going to own the land as a lease, or you are going to own the land as what? Freehold. But if you're a customer owner, customer ownership, you can convert, the title can be converted from customer ownership to freehold. Also, customary land tenure or customer ownership can be converted into lease. But once you're a customer owner, it is good for you to pick freehold, because the land is yours. You own the land in perpetuity, you own it forever. Or if it's the land you bought, when you go to the sub-county or you go to the division, to pay and pick the forms, you should pick the form for freehold. Don't pick for the form for leasehold, because when you pick the form for leasehold, for lease, you own the land for a specific period of time. Actually, the land will not be yours. You are just like, it is almost like rent. The land it will be in the hands of the district land board or city land board. They give you permission or authority to lease this land for like 5 years. After 5 years, you renew it for example, for 35 years or 39 years. After 39 years or 35 years, you can renew it for 99 years. But you don't own the land forever. When you pick form for leasehold, when you pick form for lease and you become a lease title holder, the land is not yours. You are using it for a specific period of time. When the 5 years end, the land goes back. It reverts to the city land board, or it reverts to the district land board if you're in a district. The challenge is that in those days, all land in Uganda was actually leased during that period of what? Under the land reform decree. So people know that when you want to process title, they say when you want to process title, they say you are leasing what? You are leasing your land. It is not leasing your land. When you are processing title, it's not leasing your land. So people now go, I want to lease my land. So they give them form for what? Lease. When actually you are the owner of the land. Yeah? If you are the owner of the land and you own it forever, and if you die, you leave it to your children, why do you now go for lease? Because you are going to restrict yourself and restrict ownership only to 5 years. After 5 years, the land reverts, it goes to government. Again, if you are to renew, you renew for another period. After when those period ends, the land goes back to government. And when you also apply for pick forms for lease, or you apply for lease, another challenge is you'll be paying annually ground rent. You pay ground rent to government over your own land. And then you pay premium. You pay premium to government. And then yearly you pay what? Ground rent to government. Yet the land is yours. So you'll be paying a lot of money to government for nothing. But when you pick the form for freehold, it is the land is yours. You don't pay premium. You don't pay ground rent. So I'll advise people to pick forms for freehold. Unless if the land was a lease before. If it was land you got from municipal council, you got the land from district council, you got the land from town council, there the land will remain in most cases as a lease. Then you can pick the forms for lease and then you renew the lease after every either 5 years or after 39 years, after 99 years. And you'll make sure every time you pay what? Ground rent. But if it's your own land, please don't waste your time and pick lease. We'll have to lobby city council to give us airtime and platform to discuss or to sensitize people on these things once we're in office. And I also expect that when communities are organized and they want ideas on land or they want discussion on land, people can also invite us. For me, I'm available. When there is workshop, there is trainings, or people just have a village meeting and you want to come and know about land, you can write to a city land board. We'll take our time, we'll go and talk to you about this. So one of the main challenges is that there are so many stakeholders involved in this process of what? Titling land. So since so many stakeholders are involved, you expect there will be what? Delays, because not everybody thinks the same. People have also been complaining of corruption in land office. For the city land board, if there are issues of corruption which are not confirmed, people should bring it to our attention. You can inform me, so and so is corrupt, so and so is asking for money. We shall take action against that, because we don't expect corruption. Land is the most valuable asset people can have. So if you now do corruption on land, you're actually killing people, you are killing families. Because if and land is actually also one of the main factors for development of the city. If we want a rural city to develop, we must make sure most people have land title and people's lands are safe. Because the advantage of titles are many. When you have title, you can easily use that title to get capital. Because with title, the banks, financial institutions, money lenders, they can easily give you loan. Which loan you can use it for business, or you can use it to do some developmental thing which brings income. And once, actually in Kampala, most people you see in Kampala who are building day and night, what they use is they use loan to build. But what they do is they get titles, they buy land, get titles, take it to financial institution, borrow money, they get loan. And once after getting loan, they make sure they build day and night. For us, they look at it, they say, these people have witchcrafts. How can they build at night? Because they are hurrying to building at night, day and night, such that they finish the building very fast and tenants enter these premises. And once tenants enter, they use that money to what? To pay the bank loan. See? So we need people here to process titles such that they can get capital. Most of our people are doing business and it's a border district. So if they get title and they can easily get money from financial institutions, from banks or microfinance, from SACCOs, they pick money because the title is used as security. They put it as collateral for the loan and they will make money. Another advantage of title is title also helps you to what? To protect your land from land grabbers, from encroachers, from people who trespass. The time, as I always say, the time where people used to marry many women and you produce so many children that now you want to protect your land, that time is over. There is no need for you to marry 10 or 5 women, then you produce over 20 children, and then you think you are protecting your land. That period is over. You just need to get what? Title. Because you produce so many children, you fail to what? To provide for all these women. You fail to provide for the welfare of the children. The children become thieves. They become destitute. At the end, these children will stress you and you will die. So instead of that, you just make title. Because once you have title, the law in Uganda is that title is conclusive proof of ownership of land. You just need to wave your title like this. You don't need to talk a lot in court. You just say, this is my land, the title is here. And once you show title to court, court will just consider you as the owner of this land. So the other person who is having no title will labor, bring elders, bring so many witnesses, the elders come and talk lies, but the title is here. Because many times nowadays, people are not honest. Actually, 80% of the cases we have in court in West Nile are land cases. Even most criminal cases are land cases. Cases of defilement, you find people are put in prison because of land dispute. They want to eliminate the other person and grab the land. They claim that he defiled so and so. Then they put the person in prison. After the person is in prison, it's a capital offense. By the time you come out, your land is already grabbed. So, and most of these land cases, these 80% land cases we have in court, they are caused because in West Nile, we have customary land. The land is not documented. Land has no title. Land is not surveyed. The borders are not clear. There are no coordinates. If we had most of our land here, if lots of our land in West Nile had title, it was not only customary, there will be few cases because people will know the borders, the coordinates are there, the mark stones are there. You don't need to talk a lot. There's even no need to bring elders to come and tell lies. Sometimes in court, the elders talk lies, draw on both sides. The elders on this side are telling the lies which are consistent. The elders on the other side are telling lies because these both elders are paid. They are telling lies which are consistent. Even sometimes court is now meant to make wrong judgment because elders, sometimes even the elders who are lying are more than these ones who are telling the truth. But because there are many and they are telling consistent lies, court is forced to believe them. But if you had title, there will be no need because you just produce title, the borders are there, the coordinates are there, it is land surveyed, they will just open the boundary of that land and the case will be sorted. So title helps to reduce land disputes. It helps to protect your land and prevent it from encroachment. It prevents it from encroachment, from trespass. And even if it goes to court, it is easy for you to win your case because you have land title. Then again, another advantage of title is helps you to plan the use of your land. How do you use your land? Because the land is titled, you know the border passes here, passes here, passes here. You don't rely on only on what trees, because these trees can be cut. Once they cut the tree, then people change the border. Actually, that's what is happening now. But when you have title, there are mark stones. Even if the mark stone is removed, the coordinates remain there. When they bring machine, it will just tell that this machine, the machine will tell you that actually the mark stone was here. And the coordinates don't lie. So now once the land is surveyed, land has title, it means that land has been surveyed. The mark stone, you know the border. So you can plan how to use your land very well when you have title. That's another advantage of having certificate of title. Because you'll know the corner is here, the corner is here. You can plan and say, this part I'm going to put my house, this other part I'm going to plant some fruits, this other part I'll leave it as a garden, another part maybe if it's big I can use this other part for grazing chicken, for grazing goats, for grazing and maybe for now animals. So you will plan well how to use your land when you have certificate of title. That's another advantage of what? Certificate of title. Another advantage also of certificate of title is that your land appreciates all the time. The land keeps gaining value all the time. It's not like this customer land here. Customer land doesn't appreciate. It doesn't add value. But title land adds value. I want to tell you, I was the lawyer when they were compensating people in the rural airfield. People who had title made a lot of money. Some people just had 50 by 50 or 50 by 100. They were getting over 200 million, 100 million in compensation because they have titled land. But those ones who were not who had no title, they will take maybe 100 by 200. It is valued at 20 million. People were like complaining that, but why is it that so and so is getting money more than me? But because those who were sharp made title, and they were able to make a lot of money. People who had no title, their land had no value. They were compensated small amounts of money because the chief government will just come and say, this land here now, where is their title? Say no title. We'll just say, okay, this is this amount. But when there's title, they calculate it properly and your land gains value. Now the place is becoming a city. It's now a city. It means so many roads are going to be opened. It means so many developments are going to come. So many government projects are going to come here. And government will still need land because the government doesn't have a lot of land in West Nile, in a rural city or in West Nile. So government will need land for so many things. Even investors will come and need land. But when you have only customer land without title, that land has no value. It will be bought cheaply. But when you have land which has title, they will sit and negotiate with you. You are the one to determine the price because it is titled and it has value. Even when government wants to do projects, government will, if you have title, they will say, okay, this person has title. They respect you. If they want to open the road, they will respect the person who has title. But these ones who have no title, they will just put a grader. They say, grader, you can now go like this. Just head, you go straight. Your grandfather's house, your land is taken like that because this land has no value. It has no value. But when you have title, they respect you. They call you for meeting because they know this land has value. This land has it is properly surveyed. It has mark stones. It has. They will not, and you are the conclusive owner of the land. So they always respect you. So these are some of the advantages of certificate of title. So I really urge all our people, especially the people who are within a rural city, where I'm now, if all goes well, I'll be the chairperson for the land board. Let us take advantage, let us process certificate of titles for our land, for our plots of land. We shall do everything to make sure that your titles, your applications are approved. So, but also you need to do your part. Because if you don't pick the forms, or if you pick the forms you don't pay, or if you pick the forms you pay and you don't take these things to area land committee for approval, or the area land committee, they don't come and approve your, they don't come and inspect your land. The area land committee, if they don't come and inspect the land, or if the area land committee inspects and then you don't take it for physical planning, these forms will not reach city land board. Sometimes people complain about city land board. when they don't follow the real steps, if you don't follow the real steps, these files will not reach there. Or if they reach City Land Board, they will be bounced back because they are missing steps. You need to give your IDs. You need to submit your IDs. You need to make sure you have the national ID, which copy is there. So if you don't follow these small steps, the forms don't reach there, or if they reach City Land Board, they are not approved. So you shouldn't really blame people. People should do their part. As the City Land Board, we shall also make sure we do our part. Issues of people selling land twice in a rural city. That complaint is there. But now, and all this complaint is caused because people have no title. If people had title, before you buy a land, you bring a surveyor to come and what? To come and to measure the size of the land. So when you bring a surveyor to come and measure the size of the land, the surveyor will be able to tell you that this land is titled and is owned by so and so. But because here, our land is not surveyed, our land has no title, you can't tell who is the real owner of this land. But that means that we also now, our people need to be vigilant when you are what? When you are buying land. One of the main problems why people are selling land twice is that most people do not do a very good background check before they buy land. When you buy land, land is not like, you don't buy land like you are buying tomatoes or you are buying greens in the market, or like you are buying mushroom, this one women move with, or bananas, women move it on the streets. When you're buying land, land is a precious asset. And when you're buying land, you are using money. So before you buy land, you should make sure you do proper background check. If the land is titled, you should first of all what? You do a search. You can go to MZO office here to do a search on what? To find out if the land is titled and in whose names is the title, and if the title is still valid or expired. Because many people here have leases which have expired. Because now if you buy an expired lease, it's as good as wasting your money. Because the lease has expired, what are you buying? It means the land has gone back to City Land Board, or it has gone back to the District Land Board, or it has gone back to the District Land Board. You see? So you need to do a search if the land is titled. You need to also make sure that you go on the ground. There are people who buy land and they are just based in town. Or they buy land in Kampala, they are buying land in Arua, everything is done where? In Kampala. When you are buying land, it is good to go on ground on the land. It will help you to know if this land has issues or not. It's good to do the transaction on the ground where the land is, not doing it on the streets of the city or on the streets of town. Go on the ground. Ask the LCs if this land belongs to so and so. Sometimes some LCs are very honest, they will tell you the truth. Some are not honest, they will tell you lies. But if you go on the ground, if you ask the LCs, they tell you lies. You ask also the neighbors, ask the neighbors, whose land is this? Whose land is this? You should not only stop at asking the LCs, because the neighbors know. The LC will know. Sometimes because of the alleged 10%, they may tell lies. But you'll ask neighbors, if this land has issues, whose land is this? And you go on the ground, when you move on the land, people will see. They'll say, hey, they will even inform you. When you hear any dispute over land, don't take it for granted. If you hear that this land is like this, stop. First investigate it properly before you proceed. Because if you ignore those small disputes over land, they will turn out to be a big problem. You can lose your money. So it's always important to go on the ground, ask the LCs, ask the neighbors to this land, even ask elders. If you get time, ask elders. Sometimes when you go in the team with the buyer, with the seller, and you ask all these people and they confirm it is true that this seller is the owner. It is even good for you to do your independent work. You take another day, you go alone. You go alone and ask, just as a civilian. Do your personal investigations. So it's always good you do investigations properly before you buy the land. And if possible, you get a surveyor. Take a survey on the ground to measure that land. This before you buy. If you take a surveyor, the surveyor will help you to tell whether this land was registered. If it is registered, is it a lease or it's a freehold? Or if it's not registered, surveyor will tell you it's not registered. But also surveyor's presence of only going there with the machine will attract people, members of the community. And once it attracts members of the community around, it will help you to know if there's dispute. If there's a problem, they'll chase you with a surveyor and with this machine. They'll even threaten to break the machine. And it will tell you, hey, this land has what? Issues. Then you what? You be careful. And another thing also is that it is always good to make sure a proper land sale agreement is drafted. One of the mistakes people make is they pay a lot of money, but because they don't want to pay money for lawyers, they make the LC to write what? Agreement. And sometimes the agreements are not properly drafted. And you see, what binds you, what brings you together with the seller is the agreement. If the agreement is not properly drafted, you can easily lose the land. Sometimes if it's seller agreement, they write that the transfer agreement. They say transfer, now transfer of land from who to who. They don't write the amount. If they don't write the amount properly, they don't write the installments that have been paid. If they don't write the installments, sometimes they even forget, they don't write the date. Sometimes they don't even what? In those agreements, they don't write the size of the land bought. The agreement is written properly, but the size of what is bought is not written. You see? Now you are stuck with this agreement. When there's a dispute, they'll say, what did you buy? Say you bought land there that was measured. They say, okay, you look at the agreement. What size of land did you buy? It is not written. You see, those small things. Sometimes they don't even write how much the land is bought. And then sometimes they forget the witnesses. So it is good to spend money, if possible, to get, to make sure there is a proper land sale agreement. If possible, you can get a lawyer to draft for you. If not a lawyer, even if it's drafted by LCs, that is still a good agreement. But you make sure it is properly what? Drafted. And you make sure there is agreement, and there are people who buy land and they just talk it by word of mouth. It is just oral. You say you trust one, so you give money. You make sure there are witnesses. And then these witnesses will die in the future. The witnesses either die, or the other person comes and buys off these witnesses, or the witnesses are relatives of the seller. They all turn against you, and you lose the land. So people should make sure there is proper land sale agreement, among other things. But let us not buy land in a casual, in a lousy way, in a careless and reckless way, because land is a very big asset. You see, as I said, land is a very, 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 very big asset. So you make sure when you are buying land, you are entering into transaction of land, you are serious, you are so vigilant, and you do proper, thorough background check before you pay your money to buy this land. And I already stressed, you see, we were taught actually when I was in senior 2 and senior 3. Senior 3. They used to tell us in commerce that there are factors of production. And the first factor of production is what? Land. So people should not play about land. If you want to develop, if you want our place to develop, if you want ourselves to develop, let us take land serious. And taking land serious, it means that protecting our land. Protecting our land means that documenting properly the land. If you cannot afford title, you must make sure this land of yours, you use it. It's not good to leave land idle. Don't leave land idle. When you leave land idle, you are tempting people. You're actually enticing them, tickling them to come and now to grab your land. So make sure if your land is there, you don't have money for title, use that land. If you cannot dig the land, plant trees, because those trees will help to act as evidence. You can plant trees in the boundaries of the land, even do something on the land. Make sure there is always something on the land. Don't leave land idle. You either dig this land, you can graze animals on the land, you can plant crops there, or if you cannot plant crops, you can just plant trees, you leave it there. Because now when somebody enters there and there are issues in the court, you'll always use those trees those crops of yours, the buildings you have put there, you can even put some buildings there and live there. They'll act as your features, things that can prove that you have been in possession of the land. So it's important not to leave land idle. Make sure there is something on the land. And one of the best things is to plant trees. You need to plant trees. Trees will grow by themselves. And when somebody enters there, they'll ask, did you see trees there? These trees are big. Whose trees were they? Did you ask whose trees were there? Then if you did, you say, okay, me, I didn't know. I found some trees, I didn't ask. And then they'll say, okay, you are not serious. If you are to enter the land, you should have known who owns those trees. So I advise people not to always make sure you use your land. Don't leave land idle.
One last one. Our people of Arua City, after creation of the city, we've had a lot of, especially from Ivo division.
Yes.
There's this political talk, I will say, that the city has come to grab their land. You are not going to bury people on your land. You are not going to do this. Yet, when this city started up to now, we have not seen these situations. People still bury where they belong. What guidance do you give them? And those who think they cannot afford land title, how can they gradually process a title?
Yes, the allegations that the city has come to grab people's land, that allegation is not true. Because as I told you, we have land laws in Uganda. We have the Land Act, we have the 1995 Constitution, we have the Registration of Titles Act, we have the land regulations. All these laws talk about how a person can own land in Uganda. They talk about how a person can own land in Uganda. The 1995 Constitution, which is the supreme law of this country, of Uganda, clearly in Article 237, says land belongs to the people. Land belongs to the people. Except land which was in possession or in ownership of government by the time the Constitution came in place. So if your land, when the Constitution came in place, was promulgated in 1995, if by 1995, when the Constitution came in place, the land was yours, government was not having any development on your land. There was no school on your land, there was no hospital on your land, there was no road on your land, there was no wetland on your land, there was no any government development on your land. Or it was not a mountain, it was not a hill by the time the Constitution came in place. That land is yours. That land can never be taken away. So the city cannot come and take land away. That explains why in Kampala, which was the city long time before, government did not take people's land even when when Kampala was a city, and when it became a KCCA, because that's when it became Kampala City Capital Authority. The city council did not take land. So the land in the city remains of you, if it was your land, except if it was government land before the Constitution came in place. So that land is yours. The city cannot take away the land, and the city will not take away your land. If city wants to take away your land, the Constitution even clearly states in Article 26 that if the city wants to take away your land, or government wants to take away your land, maybe for security reasons or for some important government development, government has to compensate you for that land. So if government wants to take land, the city council wants to take somebody's land within the city, and that land has not been land which is owned by the city, or in use by the city, or in use by the government will go ahead and compensate you. People bury, like even in Kampala, people bury in the city. Right now in Arua here, people bury. No one has stopped anybody from burying. So those lies really needs to stop. Those lies need to stop. No one is going to take your land. Only that the city land board, if the land was yours, you want to process title, you have to apply to city land board to verify. The city land board will give you approval. But if it is freehold, the land is yours. If it is lease, of course, the city land board will give you to use the land for some period of time. But if it's freehold, the land is yours. If it was your customer land, you apply for freehold and you get the title for your land. So the city will never grab somebody's land. That lies should stop. People should stop. Our people need to be honest. Our people need to get the truth. Nobody stops people from burying within the city. Even in the city here, there are burial places. There are people who are buried within the city. Those are people who have no relatives. If you have no relative, you die, they look for your relatives in vain. Of course, you'll be buried in the city cemetery. You'll be buried in the city cemetery. But if you are there in the suburbs of the city, or even within the city, you have your own land, they will bury you on your land. And the city authorities have never stopped somebody, and they will never stop you, because the law permits you to bury on your land. The law permits you to use your land. What the city can only do is the planning. The role of the city, if the land is yours, is to plan. Because now if they're supposed to pass a road, city authority will guide you now. Don't what? Don't build on the road. Or if you want to put a building, they'll approve your plan, for the building plan, to ensure that you don't block access to other people. You see, one of the problems in Arua is the problem of what? Access roads. Most people are built without plan. People face the houses anyhow. There is no access to the houses. There is no proper road to link you to your house. That's one of the biggest challenges we have here. So, but the city planning authority has come in place. They will help you to approve your plan. They will help you to approve your plan. Since it's a city, development should be organized, but no one will stop development in the city. So people should not fear about that. And as the city authority, the city land board, I'll make sure no one grabs your land, because the land which is yours is yours. But if it's government land, I will also protect the government to make sure no one grabs government land. There are people who like grabbing church land. If the land is for the church, we'll make sure no one grabs the church land, because we cannot approve for you title when it's church land. We cannot approve for you title when it's a school land. We cannot approve for you title when it's a road which people use, community road, because this road everybody needs it. We cannot approve for you title when it's a wetland. That one the law prohibits it. So we'll act in line with the law. No one should really be scared that his or her land is going to be grabbed by the city or by the city land board. The other issue
is people who think they cannot afford land title in this city.
Yes.
How can they gradually afford land title?
It's unfortunate there are people who cannot afford a land title. And they see the process of land title needs money. You cannot make it without money. Because even when you pick the application form, you have to pay money for the application form. I told you 83,000 plus bank charge. And then when you want to get surveyor, it needs money. When the area land committee go and inspect your land, they will charge you about 150 or 200 for inspection, because the area land committee, they are not paid for this work. And there is no budget by government to pay them, so you are the one to pay their transport, some minimum transport for them. Even when they think your papers go to fiscal planning board, sometimes they charge money, like 100,000. The fiscal planning committee charges that money for approval of that. Then the papers will go to the city land board. We don't charge money at city land board. But once we approve, there are those monies which will be charged on you to pay. And you pay those monies to Arua City Council. Then when you go to title office, there are those monies you pay for cartographic mapping, you pay for instructions to survey, you pay for the title, small monies, but which will add up. So processing title needs money. It is unfortunate. We will try to, first of all, as the city land board, and as we also try to lobby the city council plus the town plus the city clerk to make sure we lobby for funds. There are some donors, some NGOs which support people who cannot afford. They support the people to make titles. It's unfortunate this has been done only in the refugee hosting districts. As I said, it was done like in Terego. We pray that this will extend these services to the city, because actually in the city, titles are needed more than even in the village. So we'll need to lobby with the partners to see if they can help our people, especially those vulnerable people who have financial constraints to process title. But also, if you have large land in the city, you can sell some part of the land to protect a bigger piece of land. Instead of keeping all this big chunk of land without title, you could sell some small part of your land. Then you use the other part. You use the money to process title, such that your land is very safe within the city and your land keeps appreciating. That's one way. Another way is also you can take loan. You can take some loan, maybe a friendly loan from a financial institution, and you use that loan to process title. And the good thing is, once you have now title, even these institutions can give you more money, which can help you to generate some income and even offset the loan. Because in the city, people are supposed to be active. People are supposed to make money. People are supposed to do business. You need capital. If you have title, the bank can give you any billions or even any million of money you need. Once you have title, because they are safe, they know that if we give this money to you, you have your document here. They'll put caveat, you can't sell that land to another person. But they know their loan is safe, they can recover it easily, they give you any amount of money. Actually, the easiest way to get capital for business is first make title. Buy land if you can have land, or if you have your land, process title. Or if you can buy land and process title, then you can use this title as security for loan. That is if you don't have an alternative means. So these people can always go to any institution, they lend them money, and when they lend them money, they can use this money to process title, because once they have title, it will now be very easy for them to get any amount of money they need as capital. And once they get that capital, they can easily pay off this loan. So that will be another way of getting money. Or even if you cannot sell land, you can lease land. It's not necessary that you have to sell land, because within the city, land has value. You can lease your land to another person for a period of years. You say, I'm giving you this land to use for 10 years. Each year you're paying me ground rent at this much and this much. This person gives you your rent, and you use this rent for another thing, for either processing title or for capital for business. The year's end, this person leaves your land to you, because you can rent out your land, you can lease out your land as the owner of the land to another person. That will be another way they can raise money to process title. Or if you have good friends, you can borrow. You can borrow interest-free loan. Then with the borrowing, you make sure you process title. If you process the title, you can deposit this title as security somewhere, you get money and pay off that person from whom you borrowed the money. So these are some of the ways you can make what? You can get money to pay to process title. Because with the title, if you put rentals, like now this is a city, the rentals, you get money. Any part of the city here now, houses are scarce, and you process title. After processing title, you have your land here within the city. You go to bank, you borrow money. After borrowing money, you put your rentals very fast. Tenants enter, and you use this rent to pay what? To pay the loan. Monthly, more, because tenants are paying money. Monthly, that money tenants are paying, you take to the bank or to the financial institution to clear their loan. After some period of after 2 or 3 years, depending on your loan schedule, you would have finished. The house remains there for you. People wonder, do you have mazi or what? When actually you just use your brain to own a big house. So these are some of the ways people can generate money and to raise capital and protect their land, or to raise capital for business, or to survive within the city. Thank you.